Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today let me introduce myself and my partner. I am Aida and my partner.
I'm Rizqi Rahmadani.
I'm Wiwid Susanti Alfajrin.
Okay, our name is A3201900031 and Rizqi is
832090029.
and Wiwid.
My student number are 83201900026.
Okay, in this opportunity, I would like to present about issues from the Sacred Garden novel. And for first and second chapter will be read by Kiki, 3 and 4 will be read by Wiwid, and 4 and 5 and 6 will be read by myself. Okay, we'll start from chapter 1 and 2. Kiki, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Aida. Okay, in the chapter 1, there are several issues found in the first chapter, among others. First, the person of Mary Lennox who could not accept his mother, Mrs. Lennox. This is because Mrs. Lennox considered Mary Lennox different and should be exiled. Mary Lennox hardly ever saw her mother and father. The second issue is start with Mary Lennox who want to meet her father, but no one can bring Mary's father to him. The harsh reality that Mary had to accept was that her father has died because of the plague that hit her country. It didn't stop there. The third problem is the outbreak of the disease that started to kill one person in the country. And so unlucky for Mary, she was found alone in her place and had to accept the fact that her parents had died from the plague, and Mary of her severin had died, but some choose to feast themselves. Poor Mary lived alone. And then in the second chapter, the issue that arise in the second chapter are there first, when Mary Lennox had to temporarily live with an English priest. Mary lived changed. Mary became unkept. There was no servants for her anymore. The second issue, Mary Lennox was very surprised when someone told her that Mary had an uncle, but Mary's father and mother never told anything about her uncle. The third issue started when Mary went to meet her uncle and was accompanied by her new nanny named Mrs. Medlock. However, Mary didn't like it. Mrs. Medlock tried to tell Mary about his uncle, that later Mary would live in an old, luxurious but very gloomy house. The fourth issue is that Uncle Mary might not care about her because Uncle Mary is very cool person and doesn't care about other people. That's all that changed since Uncle Mary lost her love. That is for me for chapter 3 and 4. Wiwid Susanti. Wiwid, time's yours.
Okay, thank you, Rizqi. Some issues in chapter 3, they are when Mary and Mrs. Medlock were on their way to Mr. Craven's home on a horse carriage, it was told it was quiet and there was no light. There was only darkness with a strong rushing wind. Finally, after a long journey, they arrived at Mr. Craven's house, which was big and majestic. But unfortunately, Mr. Craven did not welcome her and instead refused to see Mary. Then an old man standing by the door ordered Mrs. Medlock to take Mary to her room immediately. And some issues in chapter 4 they are: the next day, when Mary opened her eyes, she saw a housemaid cleaning the fireplace. The maid named Martha. Mary then looked at the white expanse of the window while mumbling to herself. Martha, who heard it, then answered, and they chatted together. Shortly after, Mary felt uncomfortable and disliked Martha. When Mary asked Martha if she was her maid, Martha replied that she was Matlock's servant. Mary then wondered who would prepare all her needs and dress her. Hearing that, Martha was then surprised and quipped. Martha said that Mary had grown up and should be able to take care of herself. Hearing that, Mary was shaken and finally cried, but because of Martha's kindness, she wanted to help Mary to prepare for her needs. Slowly, Mary accepted Martha and she even became interested in Martha's story about her 11 siblings. That's all from me about the chapter 3 and 4 of the novel The Secret Gardens, and will be continued by Aida. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Rizqi and Wiwid. I would like to tell you about chapter 5 and 6 issues. And from chapter 5, Mary passes a number of weeks in which each of her days is like the other. She awakens, eats breakfast, and then wanders the moor all day. Her time out of door begins to cause a change in her. She slowly begins to grow stronger and healthier, and her imagination, which had lied dormant during her time in India, and Mary has a second encounter with a band robin. She is terribly pleased to see him and chases after the robin as he flies along the garden wall. She even goes so far as to chirp and whistle at him, even though she does not know how. And for chapter 6, the following day, a rainstorm kept Mary indoors. She realizes that she is beginning to live both Martha and her story of her family and feels an affinity with both this kind and Martha's mother. Though she has never made either of them, to give herself a copy describe the ring. Mary sets out to search for Misselthwaite Library to explore its hundreds of shooter room. In Yorkshire, unlike in India, Mary must fend for herself as she walked through the manor's corridors. Mary noticed many portraits of grand, antique-looking men and women hanging upon the walls. Their face seems to wonder at how a girl from India came to live on their estate. And from chapter 5 and 6 opens by detailing the restorative effect the Moor has begun to have upon Mary. She has started in the work of the books to wake up. Mary curiosity about the secret garden is presented as both the most important symptom and the most vital cause of her newfound alertness. And this is from me, and thank you for my friends, my partner, Wiwid and Rizqi. Thank you. This is about group 5, and this is enough. I'm sorry, we sorry if have any mistake from there, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.